High school wrestling changed my life. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Sunny. Before I start, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications. Let's shoot for 1,000 likes on today's video, guys. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so back in my freshman year of high school, I was headed down a bad path. I started to hang out with the stoner slash skater kids. I was failing all my classes. I ditched school every day. Nah, I'm just kidding. I only ditched like 1 or 2 classes. But the bottom line is, I was acting like a little hooligan. And I desperately needed some sort of direction in my life, okay? I needed discipline. So I did what any other responsible young man my age would do in a crisis like this. I joined the wrestling team. Now, at my high school, wrestling was pretty much the only sport we were good at. In fact, my school won the state championship for almost 10 consecutive years or something like that. So best believe they took it extremely seriously. They treated wrestling like it was life or death, okay? It felt like I joined a cult. So once again, I sign up, I get a physical, the season starts, and I eventually go to my first practice. And at first, things were normal. It was pretty much everybody's first time wrestling, so we got to learn the basics together. Our coach was tough, but he was actually a really cool guy, so it made things more enjoyable. I made a few friends who I still keep in touch with even to this day. Things were cool, except after practice ended, we all had to shower afterwards, which is a normal thing if you do wrestling because you don't want to get ringworm. But at my school, we didn't have those showers that had curtains so you could clean yourself in peace. We had the gulag. And at my school, you were forced to strip naked and shower together. But when I say forced, I don't mean the coaches forced you, because that would be sus. I mean the varsity wrestlers forced you, because their practices were at the same time ours were, and they saw it as a form of initiation. But if you refused, they'd do unspeakable things to you. So practice ends and we all go to the locker rooms to pack up and shower. Except I decided I was not about to shower with a bunch of naked dudes, so I started to head out. But before I can leave, I look to my left, and through the mists of the locker room showers, I see 2 varsity guys who are both 6 feet tall, jacked, and butt-ass naked, walking towards me. And they start screaming at the top of their lungs, telling me to take my clothes off and to get in the showers or else. So I keep my cool, I clear my throat, and I say laughingly, "Come on guys, there's no way I'm getting naked and showering with you, okay? I'll just shower at home." But before I can even say another word, one of them pushes me up against a locker and says to me, "If you don't take your clothes off and get in those showers right now, I'm going to rub my balls all over your face." So I get in the shower, except I didn't pack soap, shampoo, or a towel, not to mention the water heater wasn't working. So I had to wash myself off with cold ass water while the varsity guys pointed and laughed at me. Traumatized. Nah, I'm just kidding. I wasn't traumatized, but showering after practice was genuinely awful. But I got used to it. It's funny because for a while I thought every wrestling team acted like this, but I talked to my friend who went to a different high school who also wrestled, and he said that they just showered at home. So I don't know what the hell these guys were on, but aside from that, the season goes on, and I eventually compete in my first tournament. And I was a little nervous because I hadn't played sports since I was a kid, so I didn't know what to expect. But I went in with an open mind. So the tournament starts, and eventually it's my turn to wrestle. And my first match is against a girl, which is fine. Except it wasn't fine because minutes before this, my friend Derek at the time had just been suplexed by a girl from the same team who was super jacked, and he literally had a concussion because she destroyed him, okay? She destroyed him, and now I had to wrestle her teammate. But luckily for me, she was not jacked like the other girl. She wasn't small or anything, but she wasn't jacked either. So the match starts, and not even 30 seconds in, I find an opening in her defenses and I go for a takedown and destroy her, okay? I destroyed her. And afterwards I felt bad because I slammed her pretty hard, but it is what it is. I won my first match. Then I went on to my second match and wrestled this really skinny guy. And it was actually a really good match, but he ended up winning by a technicality, so I didn't get to go any further in the tournament. However, I wasn't upset. Except afterwards, my coach made me feel like garbage for losing, so that wasn't cool. But anyways, some time goes by and things were looking pretty good for me. My wrestling skills were improving. I had a little more confidence in myself. I started talking to this girl I really liked. Life was amazing. Except one day, I'm at practice, and my coach tells us that our school has a tradition where all the wrestlers bleach their hair as a way of bonding as a team, and that there's going to be a quote-unquote bleaching party at the varsity coach's house, where they'll bleach your hair for free as opposed to going to a salon and spending like $100. So the day of the bleaching party comes, and I show up all excited because my dark, luscious locks are about to become a sea of majestic, platinum blonde strands. I was going to look like Sephiroth, except I show up, and the coach answers the door and says to me, "Whoa, nice hair, buddy, but I'm afraid it's too long. We can shorten it for you though. So begrudgingly, I agree, but I was still optimistic. I was still gonna have those wavy Sephiroth locks, right? Wrong. They tore my shit up. In fact, here's an actual picture of what it looked like. Brother, I asked for Sephiroth. They gave me used Q-tip instead. And I kid you not, that girl I was talking to wanted nothing to do with me after I bleached my hair. I was cooked. Now, for those of you wondering.
But Sonny, why is your hair orange? I thought you said it was gonna be blonde, you ugly fat loser.
Okay, so if you have dark hair, you have to keep the bleach in a lot longer, as well as reapply more bleach later on so it can strip the color properly. If you don't, it'll look like this. And they told me that I had to reapply the bleach myself at home because they had to bleach everyone else's hair too, and that it would take too long to reapply mine. So they gave me some bleach to take home to finish the job, except it didn't work out the way I wanted to at all, so I had to go to a salon and get it fixed. But I'm not even mad because this is what it looked like afterwards. So I don't know what happened, but after my hair transformation, I started losing every single match. And I can't tell you why that was the case, but I kid you not, I lost every match after bleaching my hair. And it wasn't even close either, okay? There were no technicalities, there were no hard-fought matches, only me getting decimated. Except one day, we have another tournament. So we all take the bus because it was being held at a high school about an hour away. And I'm feeling nervous, but also a little apathetic because I'm sick of losing at this point. Except there was a small part of me that was hopeful. So we pull up to the school, and it feels like we're heading into war. My stomach is in knots, and I'm praying to God, asking him to let me win just one match, okay, just one. So eventually I get called up for my first match, and I did okay. I didn't get destroyed or anything like that, but I still lost, and not even by a technicality either, but it is what it is. However, some time goes by, and I do get called up again because it was a double elimination bracket, so I walk over to the mat. But because there was already a match going on at the time, my opponent and I had to wait on the side until the other match was finished. So I'm standing there waiting, but I look to the other side of the mat and the guy I have to wrestle is staring into my soul, trying to intimidate me. Not only that, he starts doing push-ups and making loud grunting noises, trying to get some reaction out of me, right? But I saw right through it. So eventually the match starts, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, he's kind of cooking me a little bit. You know, he got a few takedowns in, he got really close to pinning me a few times. However, I refused to let him beat me, okay? I was not going to add another loss to my abysmal streak. So eventually, the ref puts us in neutral position, so now we're face to face. And as soon as the ref blows the whistle, he goes for a takedown, but I was hanging kind of low. So we both headbutt each other really, really hard. I mean, I felt my soul leave my body for a second, except for some reason, I was unscathed. Like, I did not feel any pain at all. I had an out-of-body experience, sure, but I felt absolutely nothing. He, on the other hand, started making really loud moaning noises because he was in pain, and it was at this point that I knew I had the shit in the bag. So after some tussling, he goes for a takedown, except I sprawled on his ass, and I eventually get him on the ground. And when I say it felt like an eternity of trying to flip this guy on his back, I mean it felt like ages. Like, as tired as this guy was, he wasn't giving up anytime soon. But after what felt like years of me trying to pin this guy, the ref blows his whistle and he taps the mat. I won. So I stand up, the ref raises my hand in the air, and my whole team starts cheering me on. It was the greatest feeling ever, okay? I don't think anything could top how I felt in that moment. It felt like the ending of The Karate Kid, except I didn't have Elizabeth Shue or Mr. Miyagi cheering me on. I had a bunch of sweaty guys yelling my name, but I don't care, I'll take it. And I knew in this moment that great things were in store for me. I knew I was on track to being one of the greatest wrestlers to ever live. I was gonna be the Michael Jordan of wrestling, okay? Except after that, I lost my next match, which meant I was out of the tournament. And about a month later, I injured my back and I never wrestled again after that. So yeah, wrestling was pretty cool.